Welcome everyone to our special webcast sponsored by Neil and Keo Kiran. I'm Katrina Call, the Executive Director of the Brian Grant Foundation. And today I'm joined by my Portland to Coast teammates to watch a video of our relay and to talk about our participation and experience in the event. In addition to the video we're about to watch, we've also launched a second series of our podcast, On Time, a Parkinson's podcast, co-hosted by Brian Grant and Heather Kennedy, who are both with us today. And the podcast goes behind the scenes and takes an in-depth look at some of our walkers and the impact that Parkinson's disease has had on their lives. If you'd like to listen to the podcast, you can do so at briangrant.org/podcast, or by searching for On Time, a Parkinson's podcast on any of the major streaming platforms. We're going to start the video in just a moment, and afterwards we're going to do a Q&A with the team. You can type your questions for the team into the chat function, and we will try to get to as many as we can before the end of the hour. And with that, I am delighted to debut the video of the Portland to Coast Relay. Let's go ahead and watch it.
I decided to participate in the Portland to Coast Relay. I had a serious lapse in judgment and I apparently lost my mind.
My name's Brian Grant. I played in the NBA for 12 years on 5 different teams.
Grant over the clock to Grant, beating to Grant. The most consistent player all season long, Portland's Brian Grant.
When I was diagnosed with Parkinson, I was 36 years old.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's when I was 35. I think I started showing symptoms around 32, 33, and it just took forever for them to diagnose it.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in the summer of 2018 when I was 43 years old.
The first time it really registered was, I thought, for lack of a better term, it was a road rage incident. A guy cut me off and I was like, ah! And all of a sudden my arm started shaking.
I was 48 years old and I was in the peak of my career, sort of the ascending arc of a career curve.
My husband, Harry, had young onset Parkinson's disease for 10 years before he passed. I had no idea that somebody who was 47 and as physically fit as Harry was could get Parkinson's.
What I knew about Parkinson's was that it was a degenerative neurological condition.
There's not a body system in your body that is not afflicted or eventually touched by Parkinson's. So it could be GI symptoms, it can be fatigue, it can be sleep.
Depression, moving slow, tremoring.
It's the Parkinson's iceberg. There's like your typical 4 or 5 symptoms, and then there's like 700 other symptoms underneath it.
So I was honored to be invited to be part of Brian's team to go from Portland all the way to the coast, mostly because I wanted to meet other people like me that represented a diverse background.
The thing that made me accept it was the challenge. I think that lion that used to be in me when I played, it's taken so long to put him in the cage and shrink him down to nothingness. I think that little tiny lion said, let's go for it. And it just started growing and growing and growing. I said, let's do it.
I decided to participate in the relay because awareness is so important. I can't tell you how many times still people say, your husband had Parkinson's? How old was he?
Raising awareness for Parkinson's is a really big deal to me. I spend majority of my time doing it in some way or another. And so that's really why I wanted to do the relay.
I had done Portland to Coast or Hood to Coast, the running event 3 times 15, 20 years ago when I was able to run. I really can't run anymore. So it's nice to be able to like take part in the event that I once did as, you know, my former body, whatever we want to say.
I was afraid to say no to Jenny. She mentioned it during a physical therapy session. And I just said, oh, that sounds awesome, I'm in. And it was a very split-second decision.
You know, the thing that I think we have most in common is that we're all very dedicated. We're doing it because we want to show up at a normal event. No exception. We don't get any special exceptions if we don't do this or we do this or we get disqualified just like anybody else. So we're just as normal as you are. But you know what? We're just as normal as you are in regular day life too.
Oh my God, am I excited. This is quite the event.
I'm really excited.
I guess like excited, I think is a better way to describe how I feel.
I feel a lot of pressure. I'm the first one to potentially screw it up. But yeah, super excited.
3, 2, 1, you're out. All right, Nicole, 4:10 a.m. making their way out onto the course this morning.
No, I'm not nervous at all. I'm excited, and you know the clouds are lifting, and the sun's gonna come out at some point. Go Amber! Woohoo! We'll give you a foot rub. I'm so proud of you. All right, love you guys.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, to be honest. And I had really bad dystonia, but we stopped at the halfway mark and they were stretching me out and everything. And since the team was waiting, I didn't feel like there was a point where I was like, I can't do it anymore. So now I just need them to follow me home so I can work out on a regular basis.
Pretty quiet on the freeway as far as humans went, but a lot of traffic. But I survived. You know, I had my safety gear.
Make the way!
I'm actually a little nervous now. Everybody's been going really fast. I actually feel as though I'm gonna have to get after it.
Every time I start feeling like I'm locking up, I try to go into a meditative state. And that's what I did to sort of free the mind. And then I found my hands relaxing, so I could almost make it go away.
Brought out my sort of competitive sort of nature, got me into the flow state or the zone or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little sore and a little tired. About 3 miles in, I was okay, and then that 4th mile came around and my meds were starting to taper off, so I began tremoring. When I tremor, it causes stiffness in the joints, and brought it in like the Tin Man, but we brought it in.
Oh my God, I'm finally here. Longest 7 miles of my life. I did it. I wasn't gonna stop, so I just kept on going. But it was tough.
But at the start of the second leg, you know, my feet were hurting and my legs were already hurting from the first leg. At first I was like, all right, just get through this thing. But then as soon as it started, I was just like blasting through it, you know?
There were moments last night or early this morning where it was a struggle indeed. But we made it, babe, we made it!
Hallelujah, it's over. It's been a rough couple of days, but I'm so glad that I did it.
I would like to dedicate this moment to Harry. I had the most profound walk at 1 in the morning, in the mist and in the dark,
and it was just me and Harry out there, and it was a really, really beautiful experience that I shared with him.
We were receiving mad love and support out there. Ran into people who either had PD or knew somebody that was really close to their lives that had it. And then for them to be able to see people like us pushing through, had a couple people stop me and say, really admire what you guys are doing out here.
Parkinson's hits so many different types of people, and here we are together doing it.
I actually ran a little bit, a teeny little burst, which is cool because I can't really run that much anymore with Parkinson's. Running just a little bit felt awesome, and it was like reclaiming a little bit of my previous self, you know?
I'm just so proud of the whole team, especially the individuals on the team, my teammates that have Parkinson's.
And we'll do it again. We'll be back next year.
I would definitely do it again, no hesitation, so.
I'm so proud of everyone who participated with Parkinson's, without Parkinson's. Would love to do it again, and I'd like to say thank you to my family, my Parkinson's team.
And we're back. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We are here with the full team. Well, we have a couple of people who couldn't make it today, Amani and Mike and Brian Berger, but we are here with the full team today to take your questions and talk to them about their experience in the relay. I will tell you guys, we already have in the chat function, this is so inspiring, and every time I watch that video, it makes me smile so hard, I almost forget the pain and suffering that we went through to get past that 128 miles. And the first question we got from Amy is, what was harder for people, the mental or the physical challenge? And maybe I'll start with Gigi, since I'm looking at you first. What was harder for you, mental or physical challenge?
The physical challenge, because I'm used to performing at a much higher level than I can perform at now. And the second leg, I tell people, they ask me how it went, and I said, well, the first leg, I crushed it. You know, it was 4 miles. I felt great. The second leg crushed me. That 6 miles on loose gravel was not fun, but I made it, and I do it again. So there you go. It was challenging. And I will say that since then, I have been walking more, and I walk 3 to 5 miles a day, and I'm feeling pretty good about my walk, and my hip pain is getting better. So we'll see.
That's awesome. I have to say, I'm walking more too. How about other people on the team? Other people still out there walking? Yeah. Kevin and Jen, you guys participated as a couple, which is amazing. And Kevin, I have to say thank you so much for introducing us to Jen. So tell us, first of all, you guys got to train together and participate together. So what was that experience like? And what was harder for you guys, mental or physical challenge?
I think the two kind of go hand in hand, honestly, because there are moments in the training process where you just don't feel like you can get out there. And I think without Jen there by my side, training with me, taking me to the ER when I got into a concussion accident, was all really, really wonderful. The actual being there was so motivational to know that Jen was there at the exchange point, waiting for me in anticipation to get there. What about you, Jen?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was both. Even just rising to the occasion, and I didn't want to let the team down, and it just made me that much more motivated. And having a partner to do this with, I felt very blessed for that. And it was fun.
we would either fight over training, or I think we became closer, and I think the latter rules.
That's awesome. Well, we're so glad that you brought Jen, and I know you talked with Heather on the podcast about your training and sort of some of the hiccups you had going into it. but in the end, there you were. And I love this scene of you out there doing Tai Chi. That's just an incredible moment. Thank you both for coming and being a part of it. Todd, you're no stranger to mental and physical challenges. As you say in the video, you've done Hood to Coast the run for three times, and you just came back from the World Rowing Championships. So again, challenges, athletic challenges are nothing new to you, but what was harder for you, the mental or the physical?
I'd say the physical as well is the harder part of it. You know, there is a mental challenge. I don't know where you would put the sleep deprivation part of things into. Is that mental or physical or a little both? But if I had to choose, I'd say physical because I don't know. I tried to go fast. I tried to walk as fast as I could. So yeah, my fitness is good. So I knew I'd be able to finish all the legs, but I was trying to go as fast as I could. So I was definitely pushing myself as fast as I could walk without running, basically. And doing so, you know, for a couple of days afterwards, my legs and like my glutes and my quads, everything was pretty shredded for a few days afterwards, given how hard I tried to go. I think I was fat. I wanted to be Mike is what I was trying to do. So
you did take the hardest legs, right? You took the hardest leg assignment. And so we're super grateful to you for that too, Todd. And Amber, you kicked it off. You started at the start line. So what was going through your head at that moment? And was it the mental or the physical that was harder for you?
Oh, absolutely the physical.
Okay.
100%. And if it weren't for, you know, the lady that I met on the walk and for Todd and Jen, I don't know if I would have made it through any of them. So I guess that was part mental because when I had somebody there with me, it was a lot easier to do the walk, but yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
But again, I would do it again.
I know when I picked you up from the airport, we looked at the course, and it was just a whole amazing moment for us because I was, you know, like, okay, I know that she's worried. I mean, I think what was interesting to me about everybody was no one wanted to let the team down. Everybody wanted to show up for the team, and I think you did such a great job. You started us off strong, Amber, and that was awesome. And Carrie Ray, you talked about your having really a profound moment during the relay. So what would you say was harder for you, the mental or the physical challenge?
Yeah, I think what Todd touched on too, just the lack of sleep on top of all of this made everything maybe more intense or more heightened. My first leg was in the morning when the sun came up, but I was walking on Highway 30. So I was like, you know, the trucks were passing me and it was a little stressful. Like I just wanted to get done. I wanted to be off the freeway. And that felt really good. And then my second leg couldn't have been any different because it was the middle of the night. It was pitch black. There weren't any cars. There wasn't any traffic. And I was just so ready. I had my headlamp on and my safety vest, and I was just so ready to start walking down the road. And I was hoping to see stars and the moon, but it was misting. The little town's called Mist. I think it mists all the time there in the coastal range. And I just got into the zone, and I was just sort of meditating and just Harry was there. We were just walking, and it just became really apparent to me that I was walking for him because after his stroke, that's all he wanted to do was to be able to walk. And he struggled with that so greatly. And so I was like, we're doing it. We're walking this together. And it was really special. I'll never forget that.
It was a really amazing, special moment for so many of us. And Carrie Ray, you made it so special. You put so much heart into our team. And so thank you so much for doing that. And Brian, mental or physical, I know you and I got a chance to train a little bit together ahead of the relay, and you kind of had to switch up your approach to training. So what was that process like for you? What was harder, the physical or the mental?
I think the physical was definitely harder, especially after you guys tricked me into going up under the I-5 bridge all the way to Terwilliger rather than go along the river. I'm shaking now because I forgot to take my meds, and just thinking about it's got me going. But even though physically it was tough, it was also mentally tough because I don't think I really realized how far a mile is. We get to the sign and say 1 mile left. I go around the bend and I'm like, where's everybody at? It's still quite a ways away, but you know what? It was an awesome experience. Even though we had this, huddle up in the van and sleep next to Amani snoring and talking in his sleep. It was just a great experience and just felt like got us all so close, and it's something I definitely want to do again.
Yeah, I have to say, I was told by people when I asked about hood to coast going into it, they said the hardest thing is the sleep. It's just, you just don't get any. And no matter how hard you try, you just don't get any. And so I think it's, not uncommon for people to say the hardest challenge coming out of it was the lack of sleep. So hey, we got a comment from Brian Griggs, Heather, our friend, saying that the video is so inspiring. Glad to be part of the audio crew on this project and sharing the stories. And you collected the stories for the podcast series. So were there any moments that really stood out for you as you talked to basically every single person on the team?
Before I answer that, I just want to say sleep deprivation is used as torture. and so here we are. And my assistant in the hotel room where I was nice and comfortable, no, sorry guys, was snoring the whole night. So I too suffered sleep deprivation a different way. However, you guys got it real bad. So
talk to Brian and Brian about that.
Yeah, right?
And Katrina.
Y'all, your stories changed the way that I see relationships, the dynamic that we have in our community, in a way so profound, I don't even have words. I felt Harry's presence when Carrie Ray was talking. I felt the children of Amber when she was talking, and Brian. I thought of Todd's mate who's blind that he rose with. And I thought of, Kevin's family who's been through so much, and Jen. I mean, Katrina, I thought of what you're going through. I thought of Gigi, what Gigi's going through, what Mike is going through. Mike's father was there with us, who he took care of. And I thought of, so Linda K. Olson is someone who lost all her limbs, and I thought of her and walking for her. She spoke at the Congress, the WPC. And I just can't believe how vulnerable you allowed yourselves to be. And I have more to come with that writing. And I'm just so honored to be among you and to call you friends. To work with the Brian Grant Foundation has been a real honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have to say that if people have not heard the podcast series, please go to briangrant.org/podcast or search for On Time of Parkinson's podcast. The stories that are being told, the stories that the interviews that Brian and Heather did with everybody on the webcast today are just incredible stories and really in depth in the moments that Heather was talking about. And I agree with you, Heather, that one of the things that really struck me, and I think it struck everyone here too, was hearing about the relationships behind the scenes and seeing the relationship between Kevin and Jen, and hearing the relationship between Carrie and Harry, and Carrie Ray and Harry, and Todd. We got to meet Heather at the brunch, and Gigi, we got to meet Pierre, who met us at the finish line, and being able to see those relationships, I thought was so special. And so again, thank you guys for bringing all of your people to the table and really supporting this project. Okay, one of the things we got asked about, what was on your, were people listening to music on their walk? And if so, what was on your playlist? Brian Grant, let's start with you. I know that you love your music.
I started off with, I can't even think, I'm losing my train of thought. I started off with a little light hip hop, thinking, okay, that'll be like my battle cry. And I quickly went to Sade because, that Sweetest Taboo was really starting to kick in. And, brought me in.
Raphael Sadiq.
Yeah. Raphael.
We had a little bit of Ray going, but too many old memories that have the joints in the back and everything aching. Walking here, going there. Sade was my main staple of music, though.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else listen to music?
Yep.
Kevin.
Yeah, I was listening to the Elvis soundtrack. where they were
Okay.
combining Elvis with hip hop. I thought that was really motivating.
That's awesome. Jen, did you listen to music too?
You know, I didn't. I was just kind of taking in the sights, and at night I was afraid to listen to music. I would hear like the runners come up behind me, and so I was just taking in the scenery.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's right. What maybe people didn't see in the video was that half of the runners, half of the walkers walked in the middle of the night, in the pitch black middle of the night, in the middle of the country, Oregon country. Yeah, Carrie Ray, you want to share something on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was pitch black where a lot of us were walking. And for me, when I exercise and when I hike and walk, I don't listen to music. I know kids these days are always plugged in and they always have their tunes going, and I love listening to music. But for me, it's a time to disconnect and to walk and just to kind of connect with my breathing and my footsteps. So I appreciate the quiet that comes with that.
That's awesome. And that was a question we had also from Amy, if you have a chant or a mantra or some type of technique to keep you moving. So some people listen to music, other people don't listen to music, but find other ways to stay motivated and keep going. But it was dark. It was really dark, and there was no cell service. And I can't explain that to people enough. I think I sound like I'm a city kid when I'm like, there was no bars on my phone. We were in the middle of nowhere. We were in the middle of nowhere. Amber, did you listen to music?
So the first leg I didn't, because I was talking to my buddy. And on the second leg, I tried, and we were out in the middle of nowhere with the Rapunzel grass, and I could not connect to my Bluetooth, and nothing was working. So no, I didn't. I had Todd and Jenny keeping me company.
The Rapunzel grass. So in the fields, there were these very long plumes of kind of crazy grass. And they got coined Rapunzel grass by Amber.
I'm from Texas. The weather is not what I'm used to. The foliage is not what I'm used to. It was all very, very new to me.
Jen and Kevin, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, my one comment was the challenge of walking in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things when you have Parkinson's is balance. And one of the things to test balance is they sometimes ask you to close your eyes.
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle of the night with no vision at all, and you're gasping for air because you've been walking too fast like Todd, it really affects you. And I mean, I went through actual shutdown with the last mile to go, where I just absolutely couldn't take more than 3 steps in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you move through that? How did you get through that?
Well, I think it was a lot of pride more than anything that got me through. And knowing that, you know, the van team was waiting for me, I didn't want to let them down.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news was I was passing off to Todd, who I knew was going to just catch up and make up for all my lost time. But I had to get over that exchange line to get it to him. And there were moments where I just didn't think I could take another step.
Yeah. Yeah, and you did. And I think one of the things, you know, we had talked about going into it, you know, we had a million contingency plans. And one of them was just stop and get back in the van and we'll move to the next exchange point. And Heather and I had a brief discussion about the error in my thinking that anybody was going to get back in the van. At the end of the day, our team, every single person was going to make it, and they were going to do it and defy the odds. And at the same time that I'm so proud of everyone, I do have to say, in hindsight, my contingency plan was maybe not the best. Carrie Ray.
Yeah, and I'll just tag on to Kevin, what Kevin was saying. So van 1, you know, we were at the exchange point and we were waiting for Kevin, and his first leg, he just blew through so fast. It was super impressive. And so his second leg, we knew that he was fatigued, and you know, just knowing like the tripping hazards and the freezing and the dystonia and all that, we were kind of holding our breath a little bit. I know Jen was doing her worried partner pacing and like, he's going to be okay, but I need to see him. He's going to be okay. And, you know, he came up that hill, and at that point, just the cheering from everyone that was there. And also, you know, Jenny and Jen ran out and caught him as he made this dramatic finish across the finish line, just full fatigue. And that is just grit. You know, that is grit and perseverance that we were all able to see on this stage, and we were celebrating that, but that also happens every day with you guys that have Parkinson's. And it doesn't always, it's not always that dramatic or that, you know, leading where you have a handoff, but just my hats go off to all of you when you talk about your physical struggles and emotional struggles. And it was just a gift to witness that. And, you know, for raising awareness for Parkinson's, I mean, we did that. We did that.
Yeah, you sure did. And we had it on the course. I mean, we talked about that and you saw it a little bit in the video, but people stopped us on the course to say, oh my God, what you guys are doing. Congratulations, what you guys are doing. This is such a great effort. And by the end, by our second legs too, everybody knew Gigi. And so people were coming through on the exchange points and they were like, Gigi's doing great. They were kind of checking in with us to tell us how everybody was doing because they knew us. And I thought that was it was really, really special to see that happening on the course as well. Yeah, Heather.
One thing we never lack in our community is personality.
Yeah, no, I know.
What's fun.
I know. I think it was a really good, you know, that's very true. We had a lot of personality out on that course and I think people were really excited. And so before we go on, Todd, did you have anything on your playlist?
Yeah, I listen to music for all of it. I mean, I listen to music a lot when I worked out. Let's see what I have on there. Like, I had like a mix of stuff. I had some like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I had some Jay-Z, some Kanye. Let's see, like, I don't know, some Rage Against the Machine, like some like rock and little rock stuff, and then some hip hop, just, you know, like up-tempo stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, I think I would have enjoyed your playlist. That's awesome. Yeah, Kevin.
I think there's a theme here that's really important, and that the struggles that we had in this race are struggles that we have every day. And no one cheers you when you can't get to the bathroom in the morning or at night, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the reminder that this is not just a one-time cheering event, but, you know, people need to appreciate what we go through every minute of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, some of that, and again, coming out to the podcast with Heather and Brian, and a lot of those things come up in the podcast. I know those are often the moments in the interviews when I get to listen to the interviews being told that I think are the most special, you know, when people, like, I remember Todd talking about just going into a coffee shop and getting his wallet out. And I'm just wanting that to be that experience, to not feel like people are watching him and his hand shaking as he gets his wallet out. And little moments like that we hear all the time in the podcast, right, Heather, that are just everyday things, daily things, but that are so important to people. And I don't know if you feel that same way, Heather.
Yeah, I mean, Brian described being the lion on the court, and, you know, here I am in my day, you know, my swagger's full on, I got it going on. And we lean a lot on our bodies. And as athletes and Paralympic athletes, and seriously, the level of athleticism here was incredible to begin with. We need to then be humbled by the fact that we have no control. And letting that go and that grief is really difficult. We lose things in increments as this disease progresses. And to deal with that and to level the ego makes us humble, which is a little nicer to be around maybe, but it's really painful to lose so much. So just acknowledging that loss within our community has been a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you.
And the awareness, I mean, because I will say what Kevin, I hear what you're saying, Kevin, you know, we're out there on the course and people are like, you guys are amazing. You're so great. What you're doing is awesome. And then if there was a way to translate that to the moment in the coffee shop when you're getting your wallet out and you feel like everyone's looking. And if there was a way to translate that and get that into the everyday experience so people understand that what you saw out on that course is the same in real life. And I hope that through these efforts and all that you guys do, I know Amber and Heather and Kevin, and you guys are constantly out there helping to raise awareness. And hopefully through those efforts, we lift those boats and we're able to make those those daily events as you know, as normal as when you're out on the course and people are cheering you on. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Kevin. And speaking about athletes, I will say just one thing. When that video came through and Brian starts talking about that line in his heart, that was the part where I broke down and cried. I don't know if anybody else had tears or was fighting back tears watching the video, but I had that moment, and it was when Brian talked about the lion, and I have seen that lion, and there are definitely reminders of my time with Brian when we spent together that I'm like, yeah, this man was in the NBA, because he's got a certain something when it comes to competition. And that's the same with you, Gigi. I shared that van with you, the ladies of Van too, and you have that same competitive heart. And I got to know you, and I got to learn about your athletic background. And I'm wondering how, if that competitive Gigi part of you, if that comes into play in daily living with Parkinson's, how it came into play with the relay.
It comes into play in everything I do, you know, starting with the back surgery in 2015 and the breast cancer in 2016. And then, you know, the Parkinson's diagnosis, it's like, okay, Uncle God, I got it, you know, but I told my kids, and I think I told you, I may have Parkinson's, but it does not define me. And I'm going to keep doing what I do as long as I possibly can. I skied last year. I hope to ski again this year. We're a skiing family. And my sweet husband goes, can you slow the chair down for her, please? So they slow it down and I get on, but they don't slow it when I get off. So I got to be really ready. But, you know, one of the most amazing things that came to me out of this was the camaraderie with the other people with Parkinson's, people who support people with Parkinson's. And I tell people I'm going to be friends with these people for life. And that's the way I feel about everybody. You know, it was just a very moving experience for me. I didn't have, you know, a Harry type experience in the middle of the night because I got lucky and didn't have to. My middle of the night experience was smacking Amani because trying to get him to stop snoring, but it didn't work. So, but no, I just feel very blessed to be part of this. And, you know, it's not fun and it's not easy, but I love you guys.
I felt the same thing. I mean, we hear that a lot when we do other programs for exercise or what have you. Important. We hear that a lot from people, that it's the camaraderie that keeps people going back to their exercise class. It's the camaraderie that keeps people motivated toward their goals. And I think that was a common theme I heard from everybody at some point in this relay was, I don't want to let the team down. So that accountability to the team, and then how much love there was between all of the teammates. And even to this day, we used Carrie Ray set us up on a WhatsApp group checks and to keep us all motivated to exercise. And to this day, we're all like, how's it going, everyone? So it's a clear sign that like people are still very much like feeling that team camaraderie. Kevin and Jen, did you have something else you want to add?
Yeah, I'd like to make a special shout out to two people that are not on this call today from our van one, and that's Jenny and Maggie, our expert chauffeur, Mary Andretti driver. But Jenny specifically coached us through weeks in advance and got us here. And I have to say, without her there, I mean, I feel so indebted to her for what she does, not only to the community, you know, the Parks community as a physical therapist, but what she did for our team.
Yeah. And I love the part in the video where Gigi's like, Jenny, I couldn't say no to Jenny. And we had a little moment for Jenny in the video, which I thought was just fantastic. Because I do think, you know, in knowing Jenny, working with Jenny over the years, she just really is a testimony to how wonderful physical therapy can be with Parkinson's and people without, Jenny's helped me many times too. So I say shout out to Jenny and shout out to physical therapists, because they have a very special skill set that is just when, you know, they do a great job for many people, and I just think that the world of their profession. So to all the physical therapists out there, sending you love. And we do miss Jenny today. But I was glad that we got that little moment with her in the video. Brian, speaking about Amani, you're out there with your son. How was that?
That was a special experience, especially watching the video. He's his father's son. I can tell you, we walk next to each other. It's like, mini me walking next to. But the thing that really got me, other than his snoring and all, him telling his secrets to the whole band, not knowing, was that last leg. I knew what was coming up. It wasn't a race, but I knew I had to finish the last leg. And I'm looking and I'm just seeing a hill with trees. And I started getting real nervous, and he picked up on that and he just said, "Dad," I said, "What?" And he goes, "I'm walking the last leg with you." I go, "You already walked the leg." He goes, "It's okay. I'm going to pace you. Just stay behind me." And when he did that, the ego in me wanted to be like, "No, I can do it myself." But then the person in me that really needed that was like, "Thank you, son. I love you." And we just had a special moment, just walking through those woods and getting on the free. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't. He made it to where it wasn't super hard. Just sticking with him. So that was my special moment with him, my oldest.
Yeah, it was awesome having Amani with us. Carrie Ray.
Yeah, and Brian, that's such a gift for him too. You're talking about your pride and letting him do that, but for him, he will never forget that experience, and you won't either. And I asked him at the end when we were at the beach and everyone was exhausted and we were kind of deliriously walking around in the hot sun, feeling elated. And I asked him what his favorite part about the experience was. And he's, without even thinking about it, he said, "Walking with my dad." I mean, so, sometimes it feels like asking for help, but really it's letting somebody else do something that makes their heart really happy. That's the gift.
Yeah. Wow. And it was awesome being at that exchange, because we watched Gigi and Mike come in together, and then we watched Brian and Amani walk off together. And it was a really special experience watching that last leg take off as we had made our way to the beach. But I do want to say Amani and Mike, who aren't with us today, but both of them came in. Both of them have fathers with Parkinson's. Both of them care for their fathers with Parkinson's. And it was really a delightful experience to be able to have that aspect too. We know there are a lot of people out there who have a parent with Parkinson's who are out there taking care of their families too. So shout out to those people as well. And we had Mike and Amani representing them. Heather, you were going to say something too just a minute ago.
Well, I was going to add that Jenny, who we were talking about, and Todd grabbed my hand and helped me join everyone to walk through the line. And when I took Brian's hand, I noticed how gracious he was. He was thanking people for coming and really just staying in the moment and making it about others per usual. And then I was going to say that just as Amani's joy is infectious, Carrie Ray's memories of Harry put us on a whole nother level, a whole nother depth, a whole spiritual and soulful journey here too, so that it stopped being just about any walking. It became something more. At least that's how I perceived it in interviewing everyone. And, at the end, the support that everyone was showing each other really just broke me. It broke my cold black heart wide open. So I really appreciate that. So thanks so much for that too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think it's, again, I think that was probably the number one thing people came away with was just the camaraderie and the love for each other and that respect for each other for getting this thing done. And I know that in our van, we definitely had a lot of fun moments in between us being pretty nervous. I mean, I think we were all really nervous, not knowing what we didn't know. It was a new experience for everybody in our van. So I don't know about everybody else, but when it was my time to go, I was like, I can't believe I'm this nervous. I've been walking and training. I'm gonna be fine, and yet I was so nervous every time.
And you crushed it. You crushed it.
I think it was out of sheer nerves. I was like, I remember the second leg just being like, oh, I can't believe I am this nervous. And I think it was going back to that accountability in the team. Kevin.
Yeah, no, kudos to you, Katrina, to you and Brian also. for the courage to pull this event together, because it's not easy to put people who don't know each other into an event that you really have never done before. And I mean, the magic happened, right, when you assembled us all. But it could have gone awry so many different ways. And then it takes a lot of guts to do what you guys did as a foundation.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I know, the first call I made, I said, Brian, what do you think? And he was like, all right. And I know that's how that went. But months later, when he would recount the story of my asking him for Portland Coast, he said I had to twist his arm.
He's like, never again.
That was not the true story. That was not the true story. Todd, we haven't heard from you in a second. I do want to ask you too, just real quick, as an aside, how did that World Rowing Championship go?
It was awesome. It was really fun. I mean, we finished in 5th overall, which, to be honest, was a little disappointing from a results perspective. We thought we were going there to win a medal or maybe even win the event, but we did the best we could, and it was fun being around like all the best rowers in the world and being part of that scene, and wearing like your USA gear, and so. And then, as I said, Prague is a like really interesting city. So, yeah, it was fun.
Well, I have to say, Todd, that when we first asked you, and you were like, "Well, a month later, I'm going to the World Rowing Championships, so I'm not sure." And I thought when I hung up the phone with you, I was like, "Oh, he's never going to be able to do this." And that's such a bummer. And when you called back and said, I'm doing it, it was the moment that I was like, okay, this really was meant to be. It was definitely meant to be. So, and the other thing I loved about the video is every moment, Amber, you were so funny. We started that video off with you because we were like, she has got the best sense of humor. And I think everyone in your van thought that as well, and I know humor is really important to you, and you use it in your racing awareness. And how does humor help you get through your journey with Parkinson's or your everyday?
Oh, it's the only way I can survive. Making light of things and making fun of things. But I had some competition in the van. Kevin and his one-liners were giving me my money.
Yeah, the ringer.
I heard about Kevin's one-liners. I did. I mean, it was really fun because when we were watching, the clips from the video, Amber, we were like, what one do we use? They were all so funny. You had so many funny moments. And Kevin, you had so many like really well put philosophical moments for us. And I mean, the video could have been like an hour, and we really had to just kind of figure out what story we wanted to center on. But everybody's kind of personality came out. It was just fantastic to see, and it was a really fun video to put together. Amy asked this question as well. What did you discover about yourself? And what did you learn from each other? So maybe Amber, we'll start with you. What did you discover about yourself on the relay?
So I think a couple of days after I messaged Kevin and Jen. So I've been single for like over a decade and have been pretty committed to staying that way because I just feel like Parkinson's is a lot to saddle somebody with. Or, if I were to find somebody, but watching Kevin and Jen completely changed my mind on that. Listening to their story and how they met and how Jen was just absolutely committed to being there for Kevin no matter what. And she doesn't feel like it's an obligation. She doesn't feel like she has to do it. She wants to be there and wants to be that support. And so I feel like that was probably, aside from the friendships, the biggest takeaway that I had. That maybe I won't do it alone. Maybe I will, because, you still have to get by my other horrible personality traits, but.
Well, I have to say, I think Jen and Kevin are an inspiration for everybody. on that note, I too, the video again with the two of you out there, and just you had so many moments in the video where it was so clear that you guys are having a blast. You're just having a blast together, and that's just exciting to watch and really inspiring. And I can't thank you enough, Kevin, for bringing Jen. What a great
for including her.
Yeah, thank you.
I couldn't have done it without her.
Yeah, really wonderful addition to the team. Hey, Gigi, how about you? What did you discover about yourself?
Life's an odyssey, life's a journey, and I've always been kind of a lot control freak, but I learned that you gotta let things go, and you gotta just work with it and be confident that you're going to get through the next hurdle, that whatever they're going to throw at you, and you've got to just keep moving forward. And so I just keep moving forward as best I can and doing the things that I love and spending time with the people that I love. And I wish you guys weren't scattered all across the country, because I'd spend more time with you too.
Yeah,
but maybe I'll see you in Barcelona.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see each other in Barcelona. I will say, I hear you, Gigi, on the control, because boy, when we got in that van with Brian, Amani, Mike, and Brian, I was quickly like, you're gonna have to let go of some control here.
Yeah.
Heather,
well, talk to my kids. They'll be like, Mom, let it go.
And Barcelona's coming up 2023, July. Be there or be square. That's the World Parkinson's Congress. And we're also working, behind the scenes, on adaptive housing. And that is buying up old spaces or single-story units to have a common space and invite people with Parkinson's to participate in some private spaces. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Really cool.
We have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I know. I hope that I hope everybody here might be able to go, and then hopefully we'll see some of the people who are watching there as well. Todd, did you discover anything about yourself in the relay? You're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't want to have the background. Yeah. Let's see. How do I say this? During my second route, it was nice, and it was in the middle of the night. It was misting. I was having it was great. The weather was pitch black. I was loving this experience. So I ran just a little bit here and there in my walking. We're talking less than a tenth of a mile. But point is, it felt great. So I've been trying to add some running back into my workout routine. Which is cool. The point of this is that I used to love to run, but running is really hard now with Parkinson's. It's almost impossible. But I think what I realized is that I can still, I've been slowly building my mileage a little bit. So it's kind of showed me that I can I don't know. It's there, as much as that Parkinson's is taken away, maybe there's more things I'm capable of than I think is possible with Parkinson's. So.
Wonderful, Todd. That is a wonderful thing to add to the conversation. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Can I interject? I think one thing that we all have in common is that Parkinson's takes from us is our confidence. And you've got to be able to give it up and then come back and try to rebuild it in whatever way works for you and happens for you. So, but I would say, yeah, confidence is the defining line in a lot of this.
Yeah.
Kevin, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, on that same theme, when I was younger, I used to get through with Parkinson's just by sheer muscle and grit. And I'm finding that that's becoming harder and harder as I go forward. And I'm feeling more of these, what maybe it's just my own sensitivity on ableism, but I'm feeling it all around me. And I just wanted to say that what I learned from this event was this issue of what I call positive enablism or empowerment. Just being able to reach out to other people for help. Because I never did that before. I was always too macho. I was Eddie Murphy in the movie Trading Places, where I was the karate man that didn't bleed on the outside. I only bled on the inside. And what this event has shown me is that by getting help, we get by. And I want to apologize to all the people that I used to shirk and put aside and saying I don't need help, when in fact what I did was shut them out of my life.
Yeah. I think asking for help is the hardest thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do. And I appreciate you bringing that up, Kevin. Being vulnerable and admitting you need help is a hard thing to do, but it's just so important. And as we kind of start wrapping up, I know, Brian, there are a couple things that just came up that we've talked about before. Gigi talks about losing confidence. Kevin talks about having to learn how to accept help. How has that process been for you, and the confidence and the accepting help?
Definitely have lost a lot of confidence since I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And, you know, in this race, I found out that it was okay to be scared about the unknown until I started doing it and I walked it. But I tell you, to be inspired, I wasn't in that van with you, Kevin, because that definitely inspired me hearing about your story, but being there with Gigi before she started her 7 miles. I mean, I'm sitting there, I was nervous for me and I was going to be in a van, but she just, you know, we sit there, we shook a little bit, then we hugged and she took off and did it. And when she brought it in, she forgot to mention it. I had to get a little kiss on the cheek before I took off because I was so proud of her, so proud. You know, she had the longest leg and she came in like a champ. And that was really an inspiration to me to just do it, you know. Forget where you're going to land, have the courage to do it, because there's so many things that I turned down because of lack of confidence. Because I think people are going to be looking like, right now I'm shaking, I don't care, I've got Parkinson's. What am I supposed to do if I don't take my meds on time? So thank you, and just being inspired by everybody who just showed up. I know how big that is, because it was hard for all of us to just show up, but once we did, it was like, look at this great experience that we're left with that we'll always remember for the rest of our lives and hopefully do again.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, well
Get that
said.
in writing, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have to say, in the course of all this, it's been an honor getting to know every single one of you, and getting a chance to be a part of your lives has been really incredible. And yeah, I think that we you know, we all learned a lot about ourselves. And I will say, Kevin, just on an aside, I learned very much myself too, that you got to start asking for help. There are a lot of moments where you could be asking for help and it would be easier than this. And it is a hard thing to do. There you have your medal. Yes, we all got our medals at the end. So it's amongst very few medals in my home, but it is hung up with the very few medals that I have. So I just want to say thank you guys for doing this. We're going to wrap up the hour. I appreciate your help. Everybody that's watching, thank you for joining us. We will be back here next month, the second Wednesday of the month, at 12:00 p.m. with author Dave Iverson, who will be talking about his book about being a caregiver for his mother for National Family Caregivers Month. And with that, I want to say goodbye to all of you, and I will see you very soon. And thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Love you all.
Love you all.
Hi, guys. Love you.
Bye.